Hey, what's up, you guys? Um, so we're looking at the Bitcoin price chart here, and so there's this book, Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets. It's a classic if you're interested at all in technical analysis, whether you believe in it or not. If you just want to know the lingo, what they're talking about, and see what the patterns are. This is considered the Bible of technical analysis. A lot of TA books out there, a lot of websites out there, but this one's definitely worth checking out. So in there, I'm going to bring over, let's see, give me one second. Let me pull up okay, had to bring up the page I was wanting to show you guys. Apparently the Kindle reader doesn't like to be resized. Anyways, okay, so he's got a section in here on patterns called the fan principle. I guess I better not reproduce too much of the document here, otherwise I'll get in trouble. But anyways, this is what the pattern looks like in a bullish and bearish case. So in the bullish case, the idea is that you've got some sort of trend line. This is like line number one, just your standard bullish trend line. At some point, it breaks through that support line, finds another support line, and then maybe we'll take that trend line for a while. But at some point, it finds a new trend line. This is number two. The original support line is now resistance at one, right? So now then it eventually breaks through support line number two, and then finds a new support line number three, and then and then two becomes resistance, etc. So it's called the fan principle because you end up with these lines fanning out from the original point. And then you have, here's the bear version. So in this case, line number one is an initial downtrend resistance line. Or it's a trend line going downward, a bearish trend line, right? But it's serving as resistance, and then eventually it breaks above that resistance, finds a new level of resistance, and the original one is now support, so it basically does that. You end up with three different resistance lines, and eventually you break out. So what I wanted to point out is that on the Bitcoin charts, so if we go back to, let's see here, the all-time high back in November, we can see that for a while uh, maybe up until the Christmas rally. So between here and like let's say here, the price had been below. We could draw a line of resistance that it was hanging out below, right? And then it flipped. The Christmas rally, which is very similar to the rally we just saw yesterday, it broke through that resistance line, and then since the Christmas rally or the Santa Claus rally, since then, the price has now found that previous line of resistance to be support, and it has established another line of resistance here. So again, that's if you're going with the fan principle model, this would be now line number two. Most often you'll see people drawing in a lot of charts these days. You're seeing people draw line number two, and not even I don't see line one drawn very often. But anyways, so the idea would be to look out if you wanted to subscribe to this fan principle idea, to look out for a third fan line being established. So right now, it's broken through line number two as resistance, and so then the idea is like, okay, where is line number three gonna form, or or is it just gonna go sideways from here? Like some people are of course calling for the price to just go up. Some people are calling it just to from here now it's gonna go sideways. I think the really optimistic people obviously want it to just go up from here, right? And then there's some people who are like, okay, maybe that's too optimistic. Like they're just hoping for sideways action. But what if there is some more downside action? So let's see, what would that look like? Okay, so what I've done here is I've drawn a theoretical, right, a possible third fan line here. That would be number three. That would be, according to the model, that would be the last fan line that's drawn. And I didn't want to, like, some people optimistically might try to draw it right to where the price is now, right? But we have no reason to do that. And if you want to, just to be reasonable, I'm going to draw it out to be about the same distance as number two is from number one, right? That'd be somewhere around there. So that can give you just a little bit of a theoretical framework to interpret the next price movement, right? So the idea there is like if you look at what it's done previously, right when we had the Christmas rally, which is when we broke through the fan line number one, it broke out, went sideways for a little while, hit, you know, this new line of resistance, and then came down and hit it a couple more times here. So, I mean, you could imagine it maybe doing something like that. I mean, if even if it went straight sideways from here, that would be what, a little more than 2 weeks, followed by some kind of downtrend or whatever. And you can see this pretty easily leads it into retesting 30,000, like, and not overnight, right? I mean, that could take some time. Maybe let's say we get here, that's like a month away. If it kind of meanders in here and then eventually gets to 30,000. Let's see, measuring from where we are now, you know, well, okay. And the nice thing, well, let's see here. Let me measure it out. Yeah, 35 days, a little over a month. Um, so, anyways, just wanted to share that. One of the comments in the book about the fan setup is, you know, typically after the third line, it's pretty much broken out from there. So again, this is not a prediction. This is not. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. It's just another way to interpret the price data, which I think is kind of interesting because given given the timelines that a lot of people are calling for, there's a lot of folks that aren't really expecting BTC to do very much until like later 2022. And so the question is, well, what's going to happen between now and then? And I'd be really surprised if there was like a significant rally, like a V-shaped recovery right now. I'd be surprised. So to me, something like this makes sense. So again, I'm not using it to predict. I'm not using it, really just for something to look out for, I guess. One comment I will make before I complete the video is if you were to measure out the distance from the initial fan line to where it broke out the first time, so the Christmas rally, that took 42 days. And then if we measure from the rally to where maybe where it broke out, it's exactly, well, it's 43 days. So it was exactly half. I mean, right in the middle is where it broke out. So I don't know if you wanted to extrapolate that out, where would that be going forward? If we were to carry that out, let's see, 42 days puts us right here, sometime in March. So maybe that's like the place where it breaks out, right? Right around here, 19th of March. Again, totally just, you know, going based off of the model here. That's not a prediction. It's just something reasonable. It's like, okay, the price hung out underneath one of the fan lines, right, of resistance for 42 days, and then it hung out below the next one for another 42 days, right? That's just a way to look at this, is say, okay, another 42 days would be, I could say, around March. And then you can kind of play around with like, what that would look like. I mean, would that bring you, would the price action like maybe test the, okay, according to this model, if you were to go to around March, 18th, even if that were the bottom, that would, be testing in the 20,000s. And then whatever, let's suppose it broke out at that point, you know, even then you're still looking at sometime in March or April that order to break the third resistance line. So again, these are just models to play with, not prediction. Okay. Maybe one other thing to look at is if you were to draw like a theoretical third line, is to consider like what is like the price action today. If it just literally just shot straight up and ran into it, what would that put the price at? Like $46,000, right? That seems, I mean, okay, if that happened, that seems like a reasonable cap. I wouldn't expect it to go much further than that right now. That's another way that to me that this model kind of makes sense. It's framing prices in a somewhat realistic fashion. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about this for now. Yeah, thanks for watching and take care, guys. Have a great weekend.